the ethnic cleansing and the ongoing assault on ethnic Amharas. Between the years of 1991 and 2007, there was a massive decline of the Amhara population throughout Ethiopia. TPLF implemented a well-funded, organized, and executed policy of Amhara depopulation that has changed the demography of the Amharas throughout Ethiopia within 2 decades by 2.4 million people, and it's verified by Ethiopian Census Bureau and experts from Harvard University. The birth rate in Amhara region is 1.7%, the only region in the country with less than 2% population increase ratio. This number is verified by Harvard. According to the 2007 Ethiopian population census, 2.4 million Amharas, which is about 14% of the population, have vanished. Ms. Samia, the director of Census Bureau, was not able to explain why more than 2.4 million Amharas were missing.
የቆጠራ ውጤትና ትንበያው ልዩነት ነበረው። ለምሳሌ የአዲስ አበባ ህዝብና የአማራ ክልል ህዝብ ብዛት ላይ የተለያዩ አስተያየቶች ይሰነዘራሉ። ይሄንንስ እንዴት ነው የሚያብራሩልኝ?
አማራው ወደ ሌላ ክልል ፈልሷል ወይ የሚለው ጋም ገባን። እሱንም አየን። አዲስ አበባ ላይ ድሮ ከነበረው አዲስ አበባ ውስጥ እንግዲህ ትልቁ ቁጥር አለ አማራ ብሔር ስናይ ከድሮ አይነት ፕሮፖርሽን ነው። ስለዚህ ምን ሊሆን ይችላል ነው እንግዲህ አሁን ችግሩ። ስለዚህ እሱን እየተፈተሽ ነው። አሁን ባለው ግን እኛ ምንም ችግር አላየንበትም። ለምን ቀነሰ የሚለው ግን መልስ መስጠት አልቻለም። ይሄ ነው ለምን እንደቀነሰ የሚነግረን ምንም ጀስቲፋይ የሚያደርግልን እንደ አዲስ አበባ በደንብ ተከራክረን ይሄ ነው የምንልበት ነገር ግን አላገኘንም። ስለዚህ እሱን ይፈተሽ እናገኛለን።
According to Ethiopian Census Bureau, experts were hired from Harvard University to perform in-depth evaluation of the data. The results couldn't find any error with data collection methods or analysis. After 6 months of intensive investigation, Director Samia Zakaria reported the findings to the Parliament and confirmed the accuracy of the census report. In the report, Samia Zakaria said to avoid any possible political influences that could affect an objective census result, the Secretariat made sure local residents of Amhara were involved in the project, which helped with an accurate data collection covering all kabels of the region.
Amhara ክልልን መጀመሪያ እንግዲህ ስናይ ሲስተማቲክ የሆነ ነገር ነው ያየነው። እያንዳንዱ ወረዳ እያንዳንዱን ዞን ስናወዳድር ካለፈው ጋር ምናወዳድረው ስናወዳድር ሲስተማቲክ የሆነ ቅነሳ ነው ታየው። ለምንድን ነው አንድ ቦታ ላይ ሆነ ብሎ የተሳሳተ ነገር ቢኖር አንድ ቦታ ላይ በጣም የቀነሰ አንድ ቦታ ላይ ደግሞ በጣም የጨመረ እንዲህ አይነት የሰዎች ስተት ካለ ነው። እሱን አላየንም። ይሄኛው ላይ ምንም ነገር እናያልቻልንም። እድሜውንም ስናየው ኮንሲስተንት ነው። ስብጥሩን ስናይ ኢቭን የብሔረሰቡን ስብጥር አየን። አማራው ሌላ ክልል ፈልሷል ወይ? እሱም የለም። ድሮ ከነበረው ምንም የተለየ ነገር አይታይም። ፕሮፖርሽኑ ማለት ነው። ፕሮፖርሽን ኦፍ ብሔረሰቦች አማራ ክልል ውስጥ ያሉት ድሮ በነበረው አይነት ፕሮፖርሽን ያሉት ቁጥሩን መጥቀስ ይችላሉ ጊዜ ላይ ለመሻማት ብዬ ነው። እኩል ናቸው። ድሮ በነበረው አይነት ፕሮፖርሽን 90% ነው አማራ በክልል ውስጥ አሁንም እንደዛው ነው። ምንም ልዩነት አላየንበት። ስለዚህ ምን ይሆን ተብሎ በጣም በዲያ በናረገው then ወደ ፍተሻ ገባን። ፍተሻ then ምንድነው ችግሩ የሚለውን እንግዲህ አሁን መሆን ያለበት ባለሙያ ማምጣተን ከውጪ ከሃርቫርድ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ቢሮ ኦፍ ሴንሰስ ሲሰራ የነበረ ካሁን በፊትም መረጃችንን መጥቶ ከኛ ጋር ኤዲትችንን ሲያይልን የነበረ ያን ሲታይ ምንም ስተት የሌለው እንዳም በጣም ጥሩ የሆነ ሴንሰስ ነው ያለው። በመካከለኛም ለ50 60 ሀገሮች እየሄደ እንደዚህ አይነት ኮንሰልተንት አማካሪ ነው። ይሄን ሲያይ ችግር የለበትም ነው ያለው። በ2 ሚሊዮን ነው ኦፍ ይሆን ነው 2 ሚሊዮኑ እንግዲህ ከአማራ ጋር የተያያዘ አይነት ይመስለኛል። እና ይሄ ነው እንግዲህ ትልቁ ልዩነት ያመጣብን።
መለስ አለ ተስፋ አለው ኩልሻ
During the deliberation of the parliament, Adisu Lingesi, handpicked TPLF's right-hand man and ruler of the Amhara region, was present. As it is exclusively true for the majority of the Amhara regional rulers, he is also not an Amhara. Adding insult to injury, he gave his approval to the presented census data. He showed no emotion and gave no valid explanation as to how 2.4 million Amharas vanished from the face of the planet.
በቆጠራው በዘንድሮ በተቀመጠው መስፈርት መሰረት ሲታይ ግን ውጤቱ ይሄ ነው የሆነው ነው።
እሺ አመሰግናለሁ የተከበሩ አፈ ጉባኤ። ጊዜ አጭር ስለሆነች ወደ ቀጥታ ወደ እንትኔ ነው የምገባው ወደ ንግግሬ እኔ በአገሪቷ ምንም ያልተዛባ ወጥ የሆነ አንድ ስታቲክስ ወጥ የሆነ ስታቲክስ እንዲኖር እፈልጋለሁ ግን አሁን እንዳየነው የተዘበራረቀ እንትን ነው ያለው እና በተለይም ደግሞ በአዲስ አበባና በአማራው ላይ መሆኑ ትንሽ ለኔ ቅር አሰኝቶኛል ከቅሬታም ሌላ ይዞታ ይኖራል ለምን ፖለቲካዊ ኢኮኖሚያዊ እና ማህበራዊ ችግር ስላለው እነዚህ አካባቢ ላይ ለምን ይሄ ጎልቶ እንዲታይ ተደረገ
The handful of Amhara representatives in the parliament were silenced by Tesom Toga, the Speaker of the House. Amhara's people have been systematically exterminated by the ruling minority junta. This is genocide in the 21st century. According to our findings, in the last 21 years, Tigray People Liberation Front, TPLF, has implemented full-scale depopulation procedures directed toward the Amharas using the following methods. Rampant poverty, a direct consequence of TPLF-designed economic, political, and social policies towards Amhara people. Fundamentally, poverty is a denial of choices and opportunities, a violation of human dignity, a lack of basic capacity to participate effectively in society, not having enough to feed and clothe a family, not having a school or clinic to go to, not having the land on which to grow one's food or a job to earn one's living, and not having access to credit. It means insecurity, powerlessness, and exclusion of individuals, households, and communities. It means susceptibility to violence, and it often implies living in marginal or fragile environments, without access to clean water or sanitation. The poverty in Amhara region comprises many dimensions. It includes low incomes and the inability to acquire the basic goods and services necessary for survival with dignity, low levels of health and education, poor access to clean water and sanitation, inadequate physical security, lack of voice, and insufficient capacity and opportunity to better one's life. We believe the absolute poverty characterized by severe deprivation of basic human needs has contributed directly in lowering the population of the region by millions. As a result of TPLF-designed economical, social, and political policies toward Amharas, poverty and disease are tied closely together with each factor aiding the other. Deadly diseases such as trachoma, malaria, tuberculosis, and many dental-related problems are rampant in the Amhara region. These killer diseases account to the large mortality rate in the region, which has a direct relationship with the decline of the population of the Amharas.
በተለይ ግን ትኩረት ሊሰጣው የሚገባ እንደተባለ ይሄም ወደ ክልሎች እንውረድና እንመልከት ወደ ክልሎች ወርደን ስንመለከት እጅግ በሚገርም ሁኔታ ከ5 ዓመት በታች የሆኑ ህጻናት ሞት በተለይ ጎልቶ የሚታየው በአማራ ሪጅን ላይ በአማራ ሪጅን ላይ የተከሰተው የህጻናት ሞት ከሌሎቹ አካባቢ ሊወዳደር የማይችል ነው በነገራችን ላይ በቅርቡ በተካሄደው ቆጠራ ላይ በተወካዮች ምክር ቤት የቀረበ አንድ ጉዳይ ነበር እሱ ምንድነው የአማራ ህዝብ ቁጥር ዝቅተኛ ሆኖ በመገኘቱ ካንዴም ሁለት ጊዜ ተደጋጋሚ ቆጠራ ተደርጎ ምክንያቱን ለማጣራት በተደረገው ጥረት የኮንትራሴፕቲቭ ወይንም መከላከያ እንደሆነ ምክንያት ተደርጎ ተወስዶ ነበር ነገር ግን ዲኤችኤስ እና ሞፌድ ባወጡት መረጃ መሰረት አንደኛው ለህዝብ ቁጥር ማነስ መሰረታዊ ምክንያት ሆኖ ሪፖርት ያደረጉት የህፃናት ሞት ከፍተኛ መሆኑ ነው ይሄ ነገር በቤንሻንጉል ጉሙዝና በጋምቤላ አካባቢ የታየ ችግር ነው ነገር ግን የቤንሻንጉልና የጋምቤላን አካባቢ ማህበረሰብ ቁጥር ስናየው ከአማራው ህዝብ ጋር ሊገናኝ የማይችል በመሆኑ አንዱ ለአማራ ህዝብ ቁጥር መቀነስ ምክንያት ሆኖ ሊነገር የሚገባው ይሄው በህፃናት ዙሪያ የተፈጠረው ችግር ነው ብለን ነው ምናምነው ይሄ የተከበሩ ሚኒስትር ምናልባት በዚህ ጉዳይ ላይ ምን እየሰሩ እንደሆነና በፕሮጀክቱ መሰረትም ይሄንን ችግር ለመፍታት ምን አይነት ጥረት እያደረጉ እንደሆነ ሊያስረዱን እንደ ጥያቄ ማቀርበው ይሆናል ሌላው ትኩረት ያልተሰጠውና በተለይ አሁን ድጋሚ ትኩረት እንዲሰጡት የምፈልገው አንድ ነጥብ አለ ይሄ መረጃ ቅድም እንዳልኩት በዲኤችኤስ እና በሞፌድ ትብብር የተዘጋጀ ሰነድ ነው እዚህ ሰነድ ላይ እንደምንመለከተው ምናልባት ላይ ይታይ ይችላል በከፍተኛ ደረጃ የ5 ዓመት በታች እድሜ ያላቸው ህጻናት ሞት አማራ ቤንሻንጉል ጉሙዝና ጋምቤላ ላይ ነው ይታይ ይሄ ሰነድ ከወጣ በኋላ በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ የህዝብ ቆጠራ ተካሂዷል በተካሄደው የህዝብ ቆጠራ መሰረት የአማራ ህዝብ ቁጥር እጅግ በከፍተኛ ሁኔታ ቀንሶ ስለነበር በምክር ቤት ውስጥ አከራካሪ ነበር ይሄን እንዲያጣራ የተላከው አካል በተለያየ ጊዜ ካንደም 2-3 ጊዜ ማጣራት ሰርቷል የተላከው አካል በአማራ ክልል ሄዶ ማጣራት ሰርቶ ሲመጣ ካቀረባቸው አንዱ ምክንያት ውስጥ በአካባቢው የኤችአይቪ ኤድስ በሽተኞችና በኤችአይቪ ኤድስ የሚደርሰው ሞት ከፍተኛ ነው የሚል ነበር ይሄ በመረጃ ሪከርድ ሆኖ የሚገኝ ነገር ነው ነገር ግን አሁን ያልኩት ተቋም ያቀረበውን ነገር ላንብበው ምንድነው የሚለው infant under 5 mortality rate highest in Amhara region explaining for the reduced population ሶርሱ DHS 2006 ዓ.ም ይወጣል ስለዚህ ይሄንን በሚመለከት ህዝቡ አሁን ያለበት ተጨባጭ ሁኔታ ምንድነው ይሄንን ችግር እየፈታነለት ነው ወይ በዚህ በከባድ ሁኔታ በህፃናት ሞት የህዝብ ቁጥር የሚቀንስበት እድል አንዱ ምክንያት ሆኖ ስለቀረበ ምን እየሰራችሁ ነው የሚል ጥያቄ ነው በዚህ ጉዳይ ላይ መልስ ቢሰጡን
Another important way to limit population growth is to increase the rate of contraception among the population. It has been shown in parts of the world that contraception can drastically reduce fertility rates, often with minimal expense. Amhara region has the most family planning clinics than any other regions in Ethiopia. Amhara women are purposely and sometimes forcefully injected with long-acting birth control drug without their consent. The Amhara region is prone to drought and thus the people were forced to consume untested genetically modified grains. Thus the region is being used as human guinea pigs for genetically modified crops. Independent studies reveal that genetically modified crops are capable of reducing the population by causing increased rates of cancer, organ failure, disease, and sterility. TPLF used GMO and depopulation as an effective way to ensure food security. The first and most obvious solution would be to reduce population growth and thus also the demand for food. Genetic modification is a crude and imprecise way of incorporating foreign genetic material, e.g. from viruses, bacteria, into crops with unpredictable consequences. The resulting GM foods have undergone little rigorous and no long-term safety testing. However, animal feeding tests have shown that genetically modified foods have toxic effects, including abnormal changes in organs, immune system disturbances, accelerated aging, and changes in gene expression. The Austrian health ministers reported in 2008 that their own research indicated that fertility rates have suffered dramatically due to GMO exposure. Those who regularly ingest GMO foods are more likely to be sick, age faster, and have a harder time getting and staying pregnant. The Gates and Rockefeller Foundations are pushing a phony second green revolution in Africa based on corporate control of Monsanto GMO drought crops. What's worse, unlike other African countries, the Wayon government never resisted and questioned the consequences of genetically modified organism crops and seeds. Meles Zenawi collaborated with Bill Gates and other multinational cooperation to use Amharas as guinea pigs for GMO crops on the name of food security. FYI, Monsanto Company is the largest producer of genetically engineered GE seed. The Gates Foundation had spent $27.6 million on 500,000 shares of Monsanto stock between April and June 2010.
Ethiopian Premier Meles Zenawi says Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's involvement in the agriculture and health sectors would help achieve the country's development endeavors. The Premier made a remark while conferring with Bill Gates at his office on Tuesday. Meles said the foundation's commitment in agriculture and health sectors would have a big role to enhance Ethiopia's move towards change. Bill Gates also said what Ethiopia has been doing in the health sector could be exemplary for the rest of African countries, adding his foundation would extensively support Ethiopia's agriculture and health sectors.
Biodiversity activists in South Africa are calling a program funded by the Gates Foundation a Trojan horse, to open the door for private agribusiness and genetically engineered GE seeds. The African Center for Biosafety, ACB, has petitioned the African Union to consider a ban on the cultivation, import, and export of genetically modified GM crops in Africa at its January 2013 summit. The dire consequence of the census report. The consequence of the budget cut to the Amhara region is enormous. As a result of the cuts, the region has less money to spend combating HIV, malaria, trachoma, illiteracy, and other social and economic problems which further reduce the population. Moreover, the number of representatives from Amhara region would be reduced significantly. This means less influence and representation in the parliament. According to Ethiopian electoral law, more population means more MPs, which translates into more budget subsidies from the federal government. The new population census conducted and approved by the Central Statistics Agency has considerably impacted the allocation of budget. This comes after the Ethiopian government decided to use the new statistics as a benchmark for the fiscal year's budget allocation. The TPLF has cut the budget for the Amhara region by the sizable equivalent of 2.4 million people. In the face of all the psychological and physical assaults, the Amhara are defenseless, helpless, unrepresented, disorganized, and voiceless. The campaign of uprooting Amharas from the political, economic, and social life of Ethiopia continues systematically. The resilient people, depraved of farming land, jobs, education, and business opportunities, remain under a brink of extinction. It is simply a matter of time before it is too late. The burning question of Amharas is not self-determination, is not self-governing, but it is to counter an all-out existential threat faced as a people in a country where being an Amhara is a crime. According to our study, the silent genocide on Amharas has been largely ignored by pro-government and opposing medias, political parties, civic organizations, and opposition politicians. Most importantly, many Ethiopian opposition parties deliberately ignore this issue altogether. In fact, most opposition parties refer to the 20 million plus people as Amharic speakers in place of ethnic Amharas. This is intended to deliberately confuse and mislead Amharas not to demand their rights as an ethnic group in Ethiopia. Nevertheless, the same very groups or individuals recognize the human rights violations committed against Oromos, Southerners, Ogadenians, and Gambelas. Let alone to protect the rights of Amharas, they miserably fail to accept the existence of Amharas as people. Thus, by denying the very existence of ethnic Amharas, they would systematically avoid the suffering, genocide, and plight of the Amharas people.